My name is Jack Gross, president and co-founder of Second Half Network LLC, and we are fired up to officially launch our new podcast and video series. This is more than highlights and box scores. We're diving into real lives of athletes, the grind behind the scenes, the pressure, the sacrifices, the victories nobody sees. Most importantly, the transition every athlete eventually faces when the game slows down and the next chapter begins. From NIL and branding to business, careers, and life after sports, we're giving athletes a platform to tell their story. Every episode brings authentic conversations with current and former athletes, creators, coaches, and industry leaders who are building what comes after the final whistle. This is where sports, business, media, and opportunity all collide. Welcome to the next era of athlete storytelling. Welcome to Bullpen Talk. All right, welcome back to the third episode of Bullpen Talk. I'm here with my co-host, Wes Ulrich, and Jacob Moore, a former pitcher at Tulane University and also a conference champion. So, Jacob, you obviously transferred from a JUCO school to Tulane University, and you became a pitcher that had a massive role every single time. Every season you played at Tulane. So, do you want to kind of elaborate on your story and how you got to Tulane and that whole transferring process?
Yeah, dude, it was a super weird process. My senior year, so I'm 2020 grad, kind of older, but I was committed to my junior college, LSU Eunice. COVID hit, and then during COVID, I was just fishing with my buddies. I was going to the beach a lot, and I stopped throwing baseballs, and I kind of just stopped really caring about baseball. And so during that time, I was like, you know what? I've played high school ball. I've had a lot of fun playing baseball. I'm just going to go to school and be a regular student. Went to Mississippi State. Whenever I was at Mississippi State, I was watching a World Series. I was like, dude, I miss this sport. I miss it a lot. So luckily, watching that World Series got me back into baseball. And then during this time getting back into baseball, I was about to walk on at Southeastern. In Hammond, Louisiana, and a week before throwing a bullpen for them, I tore my UCL. So whenever I tore my UCL, I texted the coach. I'm like, hey, I tore my UCL. I'm not going to be able to pitch for y'all. And he just replied with, okay. I was like, wow, all right. That was kind of short, but it was straight to the point. So then I texted my coaches at Eunice again. I was like, hey, I know I was committed here once, didn't come, but would there be any chance I could come back? And so thankfully they allowed me to come back. In the fall, I think I had a 48 ERA, which is not good at all. And then even play games that year. I was selling tickets to my own team's games, which was a little bit embarrassing in the moment, but I think it helped out big time. Then luckily the next year after that, I improved a lot. I kept grinding. And I was lucky to get that Tulane offer. And then once Tulane offered, I didn't think there's really anywhere else I'd want to go. So then luckily committed Tulane and then played 3 years at Tulane.
Yeah, I mean that's really amazing story, especially UCL tear for a lot of guys. You don't see them come back from that. And you said your love for the game was wavering a little bit, and then UCL tear, that's a lot to overcome, especially to take on a harder challenge at Tulane. So what was the thought process behind taking the next step in collegiate baseball after you had been through so many challenges with the global pandemic and then tearing your UCL in a very short period of time?
Yeah, so that first year when I was at Eunice, I remember calling my dad. I was about to just quit baseball again and join the Navy. I was about to just go join and join the Navy. And then I was talking to my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, you can do what you want to do, but you have to really think about this. So that night, I really thought hard about it. I'm like, I've already quit baseball once. You can't quit twice. And I really do believe that was a huge moment in my life to take that next step where I'm like, all right, sometimes you're just going to have to put your nose down and go. And I'm so thankful that I didn't quit twice. Cause one, you can't quit something twice. That's a terrible mindset to have. And two, the person I became after that, I'm super proud of.
That's awesome, dude. And so as we're kind of talking about, the transfer portal has been really huge in the past 3 years in the NCAA. I mean, you
Mhm.
definitely played in the. I mean, you played in the American Conference, and over the course of 3 years, you have seen teams get at-large bids, teams being nationally ranked, Tulane included sometimes. And do you kind of want to elaborate how the transfer portal has kind of changed the landscape of college baseball specifically? Obviously, everyone knows that college football, the better players, go to the better schools. But what do you see in college baseball? It's a little different compared to like the other sports.
I think the transfer portal is opening up a brand new wave of baseball because obviously a kid's going to play good at a little school and he's going to go want to go to the bigger school. But the transfer portal is allowing these guys to really like show out at other schools. And as we're seeing this year, all the teams in the College World Series weren't in the College World Series last year. So there's new teams that are making it every year. And it's really awesome to see. I really do think that it's allowing a lot of people to truly showcase what they are, but then again, at the same time, it's kind of affecting the younger guys coming into college. But then because these freshmen aren't really playing because they have guys that are 20 and 21 years old playing over them, that just makes JUCO baseball even better because they'll go play JUCO ball for a year or two, and then they'll come to Division One. So I really do think it's hard and it's weird, but it's really making college baseball more broad.
So to kind of go off that, I don't know if you're familiar with the new like five and done rule. So um, if I'm like if I'm right here, would you say that like if you go to JUCO for 2 years, like that counts towards your eligibility, in the NCAA? Like, do you believe in that, or do you think that's kind of fair now, where that you have like a 22-year-old that deserves to be, that's going in as a junior is an actual junior rather than like a freshman?
Yeah, no, I definitely. If you played college baseball, if you played JUCO ball for 2 years, you should for sure be a junior coming into your third year. That wouldn't be fair, and that would totally disrupt everything that the NCAA is for. So I agree with that.
Yeah. So, how do you think that your JUCO days coming into Tulane as a junior, as
Mhm.
someone with experience who really excelled at the JUCO level, how do you think that that not only developed you as a player getting ready to play D1 baseball, but also as a person mentally? Like you went through so much during your JUCO days. How do you think that that mentally prepared you to step on the field at Tulane baseball in some of the biggest moments?
Yeah, man, it's hard. JUCO baseball, it's year round. We'd play 30 something fall games and then we would have a whole season. And then we would get to campus August, like beginning of August, and we'd start inter squad the next week. There are no rules in JUCO baseball. It's no holds barred. Uh then just doing that, having field work, having conditioning, everything. Like it's just hard. My coach Jeff Willis, he's one of the all-time most winningest coaches in college baseball history. His big thing was he loves baseball and he wants to develop you as a baseball player, but he wants to develop you as a man more than anything. And so I can really appreciate because he was hard. He is a hard coach. He's on you about everything. His attention to detail is insane. It's I've never seen anything like it. But I really do think he is a big part of me, like developing as a man and growing into the person I am today. So I owe him so much for helping me out.
Yeah, to
Do you
kind of go
think
off.
that, yeah, I was gonna say, do you think that without him that you would have been able to have the success that you did at Tulane, or do you think it would have taken you longer to develop to even get into a position to play at a school like that?
I think it would have taken me a little bit longer to develop. I remember I've played with some guys here, and one day Jay, our head coach, he would just be going off on us, like yelling at us and screaming at us, and like some kids would just shut down. They would be like, "What's his problem today?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't think this is that bad. Like I've seen way worse than this." So everybody jokes about it. It's like, oh, JUCO players always say this, but it's like it's true. Like there's no rules out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and kind of go off like what you were saying. You were talking about how you were selling tickets to a JUCO game, but now like you're walking out or you got to walk out, Friday nights under the lights, ESPNU against ECU. You kind of want
Mhm.
to give someone advice to like not only stick through those things, but understand that the work you put forth is what you're going to get and kind of stick through like the actual plan that you have in place rather than just like giving up.
Yeah. Big thing that our coaches would always say is that if you put in the work throughout that week, you shouldn't be nervous about what you're going to do. If you know that you've like prepared well enough that week and you've done everything you can to succeed, it's say if it doesn't go right, you can take that. But say on Monday you skip throwing and you knew you're supposed to throw or you knew you're supposed to get some mobility in and you didn't to get that in, and then you throw bad on Friday, that's whenever it can come and bite you in the butt. So as long as you know that you like truly prepared yourself for as well as you can, there's really nothing to worry about going out there. So it's kind of you just let everything out, and that's such a good feeling whenever you know you're prepared for something.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
also think that's what's like really cool about college athletics specifically is because like you're putting forth all that effort and all that work as you talked about. You have to be prepared, and that does
Mm-hmm.
translate, to the working force in the real world. It's like you can't just show up to a business meeting being unprepared because you're not going to get that business deal done. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's super essential that people are made aware of like these athletes, put the time forth to be disciplined, to show up on time and do the right things, that they get
Mm-hmm.
one opportunity to compete. And if they fail, that can impact them significantly. So there's also, in my opinion, a better sense of urgency and commitment to the craft at hand and just being prepared for the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Something that Will Clement's teammate of mine was saying was that a lot of his resumes aren't really getting through to people because on his job, like on his resumes, he doesn't have much internship work. But during the summer, whenever most people intern, that's whenever we're off playing summer ball. But like I've always said, it's like I feel like the things that we learn and the things that we prepare ourselves all the way throughout the year is just as good, if not better, than what an internship. I know internships are obviously important, but for resumes just to get like shot down because they're not having any internships, I truly do believe that the stuff we learn out on the field during practice, during the games, is just as good, if not better, than working an internship for a summer. And so that's something I've always believed.
I think that that's like a super important point, and it's something that Jack and I actually talk about a lot. Is that these athletes, while they don't have the resume of someone who has a connection in some big law firm or somewhere where they can go and shadow, I mean, these college athletes go and they spend their summers working as a team, learning as much as they can in a short amount of period of time. And I know that you played in the Cape Cod Baseball League. And maybe for some of the viewers that don't know, the Cape Cod Baseball League is probably the most prestigious league for college baseball players to go spend their summer. So if you want to talk about your experience in the Cape Cod Baseball League, some of the struggles and some of the successes that you had and how
Mhm.
that helped you like form not only as a baseball player, but as a person, because that requires a lot of independence to go live on the Cape, live with a family that's not yours, in a home that's not yours, and then be expected to go out and perform against the best college baseball players in the country. So you could just provide some insight on that and how that helped you
Mhm.
develop some independence and as a baseball player as well.
Yeah, no. So during my first year here, I think it was probably around the April timeframe. Whenever Coach Izzy, our pitching coach, went out to me, he was like, "Hey, like team out in Cape Cod is like asking about you. They want you to play for them this summer." And whenever I heard that, it was awesome. Like it's so many college baseball players' dream to get to play in this league. So just getting the opportunity to do that was awesome. My host family was unbelievable. He was a retired NHL player. He was 30 years old, and then his wife was 29. It was just a young like fun couple. So I had a great time there. And then like we started playing, and I was like, wow, this is like these are the dudes that you watch. Like these are the guys that you know are about to get paid millions of dollars. And just getting to face guys like that was awesome for me. In the beginning, I was really pitching well. And then towards the end of it, that was the most I've ever thrown in my life. I think I threw like almost 50 innings that year at Tulane. And then at the end of the Cape, I forgot how many innings I threw, but velo started dropping. It was actually a funny story. So this guy, I think his name's Kalia Aloy. He won the Golden Spikes last year at Arkansas. Well, I come into the game, and then so I get it was like out, out. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. And so I get to 0-2 against this guy. I know he's a great player. I know he's one of the top players in the country. Catcher puts down slider, and then I shake off. And I'm like, no, I want to throw a fastball past him. Well, my arm was tired, and my fastball was about 88 miles an hour that day. So he sent that thing easily into the trees, and that was his third home run of the day. And unfortunately, all three were on fastballs, and I didn't realize that. And so I got to hear that from the coach afterward.
That's
Just a funny
awesome.
story from there.
Yeah,
And
that is all. That
it
is
was it was
awesome.
a, like, unfortunately, like, I did give up a home run. It was a moonshot, but he won the Golden Spikes the next year, so it happens.
Yeah, and I think that that just really goes to show like that competitive spirit that you had in that moment is probably a competitive moment that maybe nobody else at Tulane University had that summer. Like that's like the best against the best, like your best
Yeah.
against his best, and you had the confidence to go out and attack him and the confidence in yourself. And while you didn't work out, I think it shows that you didn't care. Like you thought you were the best and you tried and it didn't work out, but I doesn't sound like it deterred you from going out there and trying again. You learn from it. And
Mhm.
sometimes there's different strategies to go out and win. So I think that's pretty awesome. I love that story.
Yeah, no, I from that summer. I had a lot of fun. It was a blast, and I learned a lot about me, so I'm forever grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, kind of going back off the mentor thing that we're building a business here at Second Half Network, we're connecting student athletes with mentors. And you already talked about how that host family made an impact on you. Do you think that through your tenure at Tulane University or playing college baseball in general, if you had a mentor in the business world, like telling you what to do, helping you out, connecting you with other people, do you think that would have benefited you and made your transfer from college athletics to the workforce more smooth?
Yeah, I wholeheartely believe that. My dad, I'm not gonna lie, my dad was on me a lot during the season, saying like, "Hey, make sure you send out resumes. You're like talking to people, starting to net worth yourself out there." But like during the season, especially like your last season of baseball ever, like you're not really thinking about stuff like that. And so, unfortunately, once the season came to an end, it was like, whoa, all right, now it's time to really put the pedal down and like start seeing him out, start talking to people, trying to figure out a job opportunity or an internship opportunity for summer. Yeah, like if I had a mentor throughout the year, I probably would have I probably would have listened to him more than my dad, which I hate saying, but yeah, no, it would have been super cool to have a mentor throughout the season, helping me network and just talking to different companies. Because every time I've talked to a company, like it's gone super smoothly, but it's just the getting out there and actually being able to connect with these people has been a challenging part with me.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Like Jack and I are both former baseball players, so we get like when you're in season, all you want to do is win and be the best version of the athlete of like that you can be. And it's a real like contrast from a lot of other people that go to Tulane is a lot of Tulane's
Mhm.
people who are students are able to network throughout the year. They're on
Yeah,
Zoom calls with companies, getting internships over the summer. And for baseball, like while everyone's doing that, you're in such a competitive field where like your mind is focused, like we have to win this game because that's our goal. That's been our goal this my whole life is to win baseball games, and it's just it's hard. I'm sure I want you to just talk about like how hard that is to like balance both of those things. Like it's almost impossible, and you
yeah.
feel like and you have all the skills that everyone applying to these internships have, and maybe more being an athlete, but just talk about how like hard it is to balance going 100% in multiple different ways.
Yeah, so at my junior college education. It's good, but like it's obviously not Tulane education. So something the first summer I got here, Tulane didn't take barely any of my JUCO credits. So I had to take 4 summer classes that summer. And so I was still living at my house across the lake in Lacombe. So I would have to wake up at I think it was like 5 o'clock. It was 5 o'clock every single morning, sometimes 4:45. Make it to the weight room for 6 o'clock weights. And then I have my first class started at 8 in the morning. My last one got out at 8 at night. And I did that every single day. So that was kind of like my first time like really having to like lock in on something. So going to Tulane, like obviously the education here is insane. So I really do think that helped me out and kind of prepared me for the next level in life. It's like, hey, like if you really want something, like you're gonna have to go after it and get it, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, and I kind of go off that as well is I just remember too, like obviously I was your bullpen catcher. That's
Yeah.
our connection. But I mean, even for me, like during the season, like I was going to school and stuff, and I often found myself being like, dude, I'm actually really busy right now. And like I'm not even doing half the stuff you guys are doing. Like, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
catching y'all's, bullpens during games. So I mean, that's it goes to show like the type of people you like the type of person you have to be to not only do well on the field and pitch really well against like East Carolina, but also like show up to a Tulane exam and do well in like one of the most difficult exams in the country at a really, highly respected school. So I think your
Mhm.
experience at Tulane's a little different than a lot of, other universities just because Tulane has an immense amount of rigor compared to other schools. So it kind of goes to show like even like Tulane athletes specifically not only have to show up and win, which they generally do, but also show up to class and take a really hard exam that a lot of other, college students aren't taking at other universities as well. So to kind of, I mean, what we're trying to do here the second half is learn about student athletes, promote student athletes. You want to talk about like through your experience of, going to a JUCO school, going to Tulane, and then now where you're at, like, do you want to elaborate on the different things you did to, get to these places that like a normal, student wouldn't do like through their 4 years of college?
Yeah, dude. So like at my junior college, I was sending out emails to basically every coach in the country. And I mean, just being given the opportunity to come to school here, my dad will always joke about it. It's like I never thought one, you graduate college. So like you graduating at Tulane with a bachelor's and a master's, like that's insane. So the steps I had to take to get here were extremely difficult, get over so many barriers. But looking back on it now, like I couldn't be more happy than the decisions I made along like the way and everything I've done. I know for a fact all the steps and all the barriers that I've like had to hurdle will help me out in whatever I do next year and then forever afterwards.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
just kind of building off that. As all three of us know, Jacob, you probably know better than Jack and I, but baseball is a game of failure, and especially being a pitcher, like that's one of the most failure-heavy job in all of sports.
Mhm.
Even the best closers, Mariano Rivera, Aroldis Chapman, they've blown saves on the biggest stage. So, how do you apply like that relationship with failure and apply it into a professional setting and bouncing back from big losses, or even the flip side, like some of your highest wins? How do you take the lessons you learned from those on the baseball field and apply them in the professional setting?
Yeah, but it's crucial to have a short memory. Say you go into a meeting and you really want to sell this pitch and they just shoot it down immediately. Are you going to go home and like be upset about it and like just sulk on it for days? No, because that's going to get you nowhere. You're going to have to flush that and realize what you can do to improve on your pitch. And then say you do this pitch and they love it immediately. Well, say you're out celebrating, you're out like having a good time thinking about it and just only thinking about the what you did and how good it went. Well, you're not going to ever improve if you keep thinking like, oh, this was perfect the last time I did. I'm just going to keep doing it this way. So I think it's crucial to have like a super short memory. You can't ride the highs and lows of life. It's kind of just got to go like you got to go straight. Uh, so having a short memory and not riding the highs and lows is crucial in baseball and in life.
Do you think that you have an advantage being a closing pitcher or even any sort of pitcher in baseball over the average student entering the workforce?
I like to think so. I've had some crazy highs. I've given up walk off home runs. I've had like pretty bad seasons where like I was expecting to get maybe drafted or signed. I've gone through so many emotions over the past couple of years that I truly do believe that the experiences I've learned from playing baseball will help me out extremely in the workforce, and forever grateful for that.
So to go off that, I mean, do you want to talk about a moment where you're like, I'm thinking about my college career. This is what my
Mhm.
college career was about. This is what me sitting in front of the JUCO selling the tickets was about. Like, do you have a moment or like a certain point in time where you're like, this is what makes college athletics worth it?
Yeah, whenever we walked off Wichita State in the conference tournament, that's one of the ones is riding the highs and the lows. I came into the game, I was throwing 95 miles an hour. I had three strikeouts in 10 pitches inning I came in. I maybe celebrated a little bit like too much, and there's still plenty of game left. Started cramping up and didn't pitch as well as I wanted to, but I still threw pretty good. And then luckily Jackson Lynn came in, hit a walk off home run at the end, and that was the coolest moment I've ever had in my life. That's something I can remember in my head instantly for the rest of my life, hopefully. And in that moment, I was like, "This is what it's about." Winning that game, getting to go to a regional, going all the way to Oregon State. I've never been to Oregon before, so like that was awesome to get an opportunity play against the number one overall pick that year. Uh, I think that's what truly made it all about. And then just all the guys that I met along the way. There will be guys that I played with that will be in my weddings. If I didn't put up and get through it at Eunice, I wouldn't have met half of my people that I truly consider to be my best friends. So it's crazy how everything gets tied together. But if I didn't get through, or if I just quit at Eunice, I don't know how different my life would be right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember watching that game and seeing that walk off, and I mean that was an unreal moment for the university too.
Yeah.
So, the last question before we kind of, wrap it up here, but so Tulane University and Tulane baseball is considered a group of five school. And with all the
Mhm.
different NIL things and people leaving, like, how much do you think, like, student athletes need to start valuing their education rather than chasing that extra, buck? Because, like, here at Tulane University, it's a great school. You have a great athletic program and year in and year out they win. So like
Yeah.
what do you say to these, athletes that are looking to transfer to different places, like how an education really matters and how it benefited you like being at Tulane University, like, for like 3 years,
Mhm.
compared to like transferring.
I think the crazy thing to think about is grass isn't always greener on the other side, or not everybody's a professional baseball player. Me and Trent Lyolis, our first baseman, we talked about this all the time. It's like college baseball used to just be a group of guys that would go out there, play for 4 years. Maybe one or two guys would get signed or drafted, but like you just went out there for 4 years, played the game you loved, and got a degree along the way. Now I truly believe that everybody's like, what do I have to do to get signed? What do I have to do to get drafted? Where can I go to make the most money? And they're not really truly getting that college experience and getting to really grow throughout college. I mean, you saw there's a basketball player for Florida this past year. He spent 3 years at Princeton. He was a year away from getting a degree from Princeton, but then he transferred to Florida. Now he probably made $1 million like in the NIL, but you're a year away from getting a degree from Princeton. Like that's something that blew my mind away. So I think that's where college sports is kind of at today. Many people, everybody thinks they're going to get signed or drafted, and they're truly prioritizing that over getting a true like college experience and truly like making the most out of the degrees they can get.
And to kind of go off that
Yeah.
as well, I was going to say it's like more so a commitment thing as well. It's like if you're going to
Mhm.
commit to a university and they're going to put money into you, they're going to grow you as a baseball player to leave. And if it's over a lot of money, I agree with it. And
Mhm.
generally, I know for baseball specifically, it's not really like football is. The numbers that's getting thrown around in football is absurd, but I definitely know baseball is not like that. So I think it's more so these people just not like you were talking about seeing things through and kind of taking that extra step to like realize like you might not get drafted, you might be in a position where I need to go get a job, and getting a degree from a really good school like is worthwhile. And also like the connections you were talking about is like you stayed at Tulane for a good amount of time. You built those relationships with your friends that stayed, and now like they're going to be in your wedding. And I feel like you kind of miss out on that when you're just transferring schools. I transferred, I played D3 baseball for a year and just transferred to Tulane, to be a student. But like, you just leave those teammates and it's just like you hang out with a group of guys for 1 year. And then now like everyone goes their separate ways and they're doing their own thing. So it's like obviously you can keep in touch with them, but it's difficult. So like you kind of sever relationships when you don't think about like the different things before just transferring over like an extra buck, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'll never knock a guy for transferring. I obviously know how today is, and if you ball out for 2 years and you get to transfer, like, good for you. But like, I believe that sticking out at a school is such a great opportunity, and obviously things can arise to where you want to leave, but that's just the thought that I've had.
Yep.
Yeah, so you were really hitting on this. I just want to kind of make it personal to you. Is a lot of athletes chase their dream of playing professionally so hard that they never even build their plan B until it's
Mhm.
almost too late. So at what point did you start feel like that you were genuinely like investing some of your time in the academic and professional identity as well as mixing in your athletic career?
I would say this summer was whenever it finally started clicking in my mind that this will be my last year playing baseball. After my first year, I was talking to a good amount of teams, and I was like, there's a great chance I get signed or drafted. And obviously, last year didn't go the year that I wanted to. So coming into this year, I really told myself, like, hey, just have a good time. Like, enjoy every moment you have with your buddies, enjoy every moment you have on the field, even whenever we're shagging batting practice and pitchers are always complaining about shagging batting practice. But I made it a key part this year just to enjoy everything because I knew it was my last year playing. And then after this year, I was going to have to start working a job. So I would say this summer was whenever it clicked in my mind to be like, all right, you got to think about your future outside of the baseball.
Yeah,
Did
no.
you have like a specific mentor or person in your life that helped you come to that realization? Or even if you came to that realization by yourself, did you have anyone that helped you through the season and helped you see the bigger picture outside of sports?
Yeah. So my first 2 years, I played with a guy named Carter Benbrook. He transferred here from Santa Barbara as a grad transfer, and I would kind of just text him throughout the year because he would call me after work or we'd just be talking, and then he'd keep on hammering like, dude, just like enjoy these moments. If I could go back and shag bang practice one more time, he's like, I would do that in a heartbeat. So just talking to him throughout the season really helped me out because obviously, like everybody's forever. Sometimes you're 40 years old, sometimes you're 12 years old, but it's all going to end like baseball ends for everybody. So just enjoying the little moments was something crucial that I really want to hammer home this year.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm coming to my senior year, so I mean, the only advice I'm getting from people, like when I'm talking to people, is like just enjoy your last year, man. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the last time you be a college kid. So to kind of wrap this up, we really appreciate you being on this. Obviously, had a fantastic career at Tulane University. You did really well. You elaborated on playing in the Cape Cod League, winning the conference championship. If like one thing that our audience would take away from this is who is Jacob Moore and why like do you believe you're a better advocate when it comes to getting a job than anyone else?
I believe that I've gone through so many barriers and hurdles that a person that hasn't played a sport will never have to feel in their life. I've felt insane moments of talking to professional baseball teams I've grown up watching. And I've also felt some of the worst moments, like giving up a walk-off home run. I felt it all. But what I have done through all that, like through all the hard times and the person I became, I really believe has helped me out and will forever help me, not just in the workforce, but with my family later on in life and everything.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about. And once again, thank you, Wes, for being on here, and thank you, Jacob.
Yes, sir. Thank you all so much. This was awesome.